Hey, Miss Paradise.
Hello, Ramirez. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Excited for the chat today.
Yes, I just want to say I'm pretty sure I said it when we were just talking, but thank you. I appreciate you for doing this and taking time, okay, through your busy schedule and just life be life in. So I want to make this very, very quick as possible, but as detailed and in depth as possible, and for you to feel seen and heard.
Thank you. I appreciate you offering the space to chat with you.
Yes, period. Okay, you're Miss Paradise. I've been saying that since we was in high school. Miss Paradise ugly. Okay. Period. Okay. Um, so Miss Paradise Oakley, she goes by the pronoun she, her, they, and she lives in South Central California. Paradise is a recent graduate of the University of California, Santa Cruz, majoring in community studies, critical race and ethnic studies, and politics. Paradise identifies as an abolitionist, Black feminist, and intersectional environmentalist and a cultural worker. Paradise is working with Black-led org spaces that support the intergenerational healing journey for Black families while navigating the balance of loving our children and protecting them through mindfulness practices, movement, healing retreats, and being a longtime member of South Central California. Paradise lives her life with love and dedication to her community at all times. Inspired by the motto, see a need, feel a need, she aims to use her skills and resourcefulness to aid her community's needs. She is an advocate for taking as much time as you need, as much rest as you need, and she is a down-to-earth foodie ready to try amazing vegan food.
Yes, if y'all have vegan recommendations, hit me up. I
Okay,
travel for food. Always here for a good time and
period.
for liberation. Black liberation. Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you today.
Okay, period. I'm happy you're here. Okay, I've been wanting to talk with you for a long, long time. Okay, I'm like, how I'm gonna have all these chats, and I'd have the woman that I know who has been doing it since we were literal kids. Okay, and even before I met her, I heard she was already advocating in the marches and okay, been there, done that. So thank you for being here, like I say to everyone, but
Oh,
especially
thank you.
you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yes. Okay. Well, just tell us a little bit more about Miss Paradise, what you do, who you are. I know you a little bit from high school and things, but let's let the world know you, okay?
Let the world know. Coming to the stage is
Period.
paradise. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, I'm really excited to be joining you and then just like your journey of like advocating and organizing with folks all across California and the nation. Um, and yeah, I truly could not or got started like doing like or organizing and advocating and like really thinking about like Black liberation and like kind of all these like hot pockets conversations that we're having and politics and like media just like growing up with like my mom and how she just like was always created like an open space to like ask questions and just like the teachers that I had and them like really seeing me as a Black youth and just like pouring into me and advocating for me to like just like try different things try things on and to see if they fit and if they don't they don't and then always to like value my voice and honor like my blackness. And I think that's since then I've just been going along and as I see like trying to like support other folks and like resource them up to like feel empowered as well on their journey. And so yes, I identify as all those things. I'm also a birth worker. I've been doing policy work for a
You
long
the
time.
babies? Hold on,
I've
wait.
been doing the bank.
You be giving birth to the babies?
I haven't done like a in-person birth. But as a kid, I have two younger siblings, and then I also have a lot of cousins because I am like the oldest granddaughter. So I've
Mhm.
always like stepped into that role of like child caring and like sneaking into the hospitals and like doing different things. And yeah, when I like learned about like the maternal health crisis, especially for Black women, and like kind of hearing the story of like my best friend, her birth story, and my own birth story, um, just like around medical. racism or just like premature birth, it like really got me into like my community studies, which I really focus on like community health. And yeah, I had the pleasure to become a full spectrum birth worker. And I
Mhm.
do like some that prenatal, postpartum, birth like support and like abortion doula support
Period.
in the state of California. Yeah, so that's a little little bit. It is shout out. It's a Black chest feeding or breastfeeding week. So definitely uplifting that at this time too. But yeah, I feel like very like abolition, very Black centered, very like environmental justice, and reproductive justice is like kind of like my little three things that I like dive into, and I always try to like advocate for, amongst other things because everything is intersected. So yeah, I'll calm it down because I'm like thinking of quotes. So I'm like, yeah, but yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what's up. Okay, I mean, well, before we get started with the
Hmm.
whole, let's talk about self-care and, of course, the organizations that you work for and all the work that you did. Let's
Hmm.
because you mentioned that a lot of what you did, or at least you hinted at, a lot of what
Hmm.
you started doing, what you're doing now started from, being with your mother, figuring out the
Hmm.
medical racism and things like that. So take me back to when Paradise
Okay.
was like, I know advocacy, this is me. No matter what, this is what I'm going to do. Like, take me down that ride about, the journey of like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to go to school for, dedication, my life, period.
Mhm. Yeah, I can definitely share a little story. I was taking like one of my senior thesis class for like my critical race and ethnic studies major. In that I like mainly like focus on like Black gender, sexuality, and identity. And for one of the like essays, we had to like talk about like our relationship with like abolition, like prisons and things of that
Mhm.
nature. And so in that paper, I think it was like a poetry or just like kind of like your first socialization with like the criminal justice system. And I was talking about my realization of learning about like the three strikes law when I was in grade school.
Mhm.
And I was trying to play kickball, and they were like, "Oh, you only got three chances, you're out." And I said, "That's not fair." They're like, "That's how it happened in real life too." I said, "What?"
Mm.
And so I like had a conversation with my mom and like my family, and I was like, "Y'all heard about this?" They're like, "Yes." And so we were like talking about like that and like talking like them talking about like their like lived reality of like having loved ones go in
Mhm.
if they like did like crimes or did like things or things that like violated the law or things like that nature and had to like spend the rest of their life in prison or just jails and detention centers and things of that nature, and that kind of really radicalized me, and I was like, that's not fair, that's not right, we should be getting as many chances that we want, as we need,
Mhm.
just like because things happen, and so yes, since that age and growing up, just been like very like anti-capitalism, all these different things, and just like seeing how the world worked. Yeah, I growing up, or even still now, and I still live in like South Central, so I have to like drive far out to get groceries. And so I did like a little story vlog, like during the pandemic of like my experience of like having to drive like 20 to 30 minutes to go to like a grocery store and like talking about like my experience of like living in a food desert and like working with like local community gardens in my area, and then like also like with the YMCA and like
Mhm.
trying to like get fresh food and like smoothies available to like community members. um so yeah, definitely like see me, feel the need. I'm like always like thinking about those different things are just like structural racism that exists in LA, and always trying to advocate for places when they do pop up and like supporting them. Like,
Mm.
you got a customer in me, customer service good, you back home, you respond, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there through and through and like sharing them. And so yeah, when I was in middle school, that was like kind of my first like real touch with like the criminal justice system.
Mm,
My dad was incarcerated, or he's been incarcerated since I was in sixth grade, and so just like going through that whole process of like missing school to like go to trial, like visits on the weekends, and different things of that nature, and like seeing how prosecutors and like judges were like working kind of really solidified the fact that I wanted to become like a lawyer, just like advocate on behalf of my people because the words and the policies and laws do get tricky or they're always like a double meaning.
mm,
um Really like set in for me, and from there I've done like youth in government, like mock trial. I did like a TED talk about like my experience of like how to write a bill. um and just like kind of also just like kind of getting into like public policy work and
mm,
kind of like sharing with other people that like no, we deserve to be in these spaces, as like folks who are system impacted, or folks that are indigenous or black, and policy is like one way of doing it. It's not the only way.
mm,
um just because of my experience of like writing bills in like high school, college, and like post grad.
okay.
We all know like once you write it, like it gets in the hands of the author and they're like tasks like with getting it to the finish line of getting it signed by the governor. But sometimes like the implementation of the policy can be very tricky or like non-existent for certain bills. And it's like, okay, well, this bill is in place, but I can't apply for this or I can't do like some of the things, and those things just like take a little bit more time, which sometimes can get tricky if like your basic needs aren't getting met like on the day in. Um and so yeah, that like kind of solidified it for me. Yeah, I got to do a little bit more of that in college, so grateful for that, for those experiences and those times. But yeah, I would say like some those are like some of the experiences I can think of. Um that really shaped me. And yeah, I'm really grateful for that experience. I mean, like since you're like talking about high school, I remember I like started a few clubs on campus. And one of them was like for children with incarcerated parents, and like really trying to like create like the emotional vulnerability and space for them. But yeah, so my mom was like, okay, girl, you're in high school now. You gotta make friends. And I was like, I was very nervous, but I
Mm,
would say school is very welcoming. And I feel like as soon as I joined like track and things just like kind of opened up. And then I was like talking to some friends, and we were kind of like sharing similar experiences of like having like a parent or like a loved one, like a brother or a sibling incarcerated. And
mm,
so I was like, okay, y'all are coming to me. Maybe we got some other people too. And so that kind of really inspired me to like start a pops at our school, which was the name has changed now, but it's still at Lawndale High School, Pain of the
okay.
Prison System.
Period.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? Yeah,
I was like,
you
okay. I was
guys,
like, period. It's still there. Period.
it's still there. And
Okay.
I was like, oh my gosh, that warms my heart. It also breaks my heart because like over 10 million children have like a loved one incarcerated, and they're like going through that experience, but also like there's power in like healing and like evolving from that experience. And you know, parenting can happen from behind bars. I've seen it done with like some friends that I have. Um, And so yeah, I just always wanted to like make sure young folks and like people are taken care of and they're like their needs are met. So that's like kind of where I really like pushed for it to happen at our campus, and it wasn't really pushback from like the school, and like teachers were like really excited about it. And yeah, so I just been, you know, doing things here and there, here and there, here and
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I'm here and there. There's a
Yeah.
little, you've been doing a lot, Miss Mamas. Okay. She said a bill here and a bill there, birthing a little baby here and helping with maternal care there. You know, just a little. something
You- a
everywhere.
little something, a little something. I
A
feel
big
like
something, okay?
a little something. I feel like, in grade school, in middle school, we would talk about like the Harlem Renaissance and just like these black innovators and writers and all the things. And I was like, oh, I want to be a Renaissance woman. I want to do it all. And I'm
Yes.
like, okay. I said I gotta slow down a little bit, but I'm like, I want to do it.
I want to do it all. No,
And
I
then also
understand.
empowering other people to be like, okay, if it don't work, like try something else out
Okay.
and just reinvent yourself. Okay,
Period.
who am I
Okay.
today? No, I'm just playing.
Oh, no, literally. Every day's a new day. You got to retry. Sometimes you're gonna fall, but you got to pick up your britches and back up.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes,
I
yes.
love that. That's dope. And I'm happy for you that you're living your dream. Like you said, even if it's slow and steady wins the race. That's all that matters. As long as you
It's
win
a
the race.
marathon. We gotta finish. I'm
Okay.
in it
A
for the
long
long haul. I'm in it for the long
period.
haul.
I understand.
Yes.
I understand. Okay. Well, I know you touched on a lot with like incarceration and things like that, and people still going through it, obviously, because the group is still ongoing in Lawndale. So, in your own words, can you tell me exactly what you feel, what you're seeing is going on in society, whether it's affecting you, your loved ones, your culture, your city, and just talk about what you're seeing in your.
Mhm. Mhm. I feel like it's so much going on just like in the world. And yeah, I think just like always like empowering the young people to have or just to be in conversation with them. And even the elders to be asking me my opinion about like
Mm,
things. And yeah, I think yesterday we were just like chatting about like, like the rollback of like funding with this current administration, and like the rollback on like DEI and all these different things. And I think it is like kind of like a scary, but like a chance like innovate, like get creative, and kind of resist a lot of it, to like everything that's going on.
mm,
I know just like the LA fires that happened in like Pasadena and the Palisades area. Folks were like losing their houses, but they were also like losing so much like rich history and like archival work of like their like whole lineage. And I feel like that's been the case like across the world, with this current administration just trying to put in place like policies and like removing things from like the websites, removing things from like literal institutions, archival work. And I think this isn't the first time. I'll share a little story, then I'll get back to my story. So I in my senior year of our senior year of high school,
New New
this
York.
current admin it was the same. This current administration, they were elected, and I remember my teacher first day. I'll be going a little late to class, but I love you, Miss Lee, to nanoscience, and she was like, like we gotta take a moment to like breathe, and she was like saying like since he's been like running like you can't like mention science, you can't talk about climate change, like you can't like have like posters in your classroom, you can't have it in like your lesson plans and things of that nature. And I think it's just like now like okay, whole museums can't exist because African American people um are the center or like have an exhibit. Just like whole like legacies and things are trying to like be rewritten. The history is being rewritten in real time. I think like with the book bans, I love a good book, and I'm always gonna read something on the ban list. Ain't bad in my eyes, but
Okay.
you just gotta buy them, send them to your friends, send them to your loved ones inside, even if they get rejected. Just to like show that like we're supporting and like we're reading this. And then also like sharing with other people. And yeah, just like keeping the conversation going.
Mhm.
Because I think that's like one of the things that they've been able to do in the past, like with colonization, just like, okay, like you can't talk your like speaking your language, can't like cook your culture foods and different things of that nature. And I feel like some of that those things that are happening with like the increase of like food, inflation, the ports, ice, all of these things are like kind of coming into play large scale. And like with Cop City and just like hitting like major black cities and like trying to militarize them it's yeah, I feel like, every day is something new, and just like figuring out like, yeah, like how I can support my community, how can I take care of myself, and like just honestly like having like real heart to heart conversations with folks. But I feel like we're built for this. We might not like it, but we have to love and resist at the same time to just like kind of live in this world, and do it graciously with a little humor. And so I'm so happy when we have like artists like kind of contextualizing this time, or like art spaces like kind of, sharing the moment, and meeting the moment to like have these conversations, and like be in community and like be in support of each other as
Mhm.
we navigate these times. Yeah, I ain't gonna go on this hand, but yes, we'll poke it there, poke it there.
No, I love
Yes.
that. I love that you stay up to date with what's going on, who's new, who's the new revolutionist, who's speaking the facts, what's
Mhm.
credible, what's honest, what's authentic. If you need any, listen, y'all, if you need
Give me
anything
up.
to be
Give me up.
factual on,
We go. You gotta fact check.
okay, if you need
Because and with
anything,
AI and very anti AI. Before I learned about like the environmental impacts and like how it's impacting like Black communities, but I'm like we gotta do the critical thinking. We gotta get back to the books, get back to the libraries. Always been a library girly. Got a couple library
okay,
cards, different
okay,
counties. You gotta go to the
okay,
library. You gotta like rely on your trusted
yeah,
sources. LA Sentinel, you gotta support your local news people. And then I think, yeah, we in high school we'd be talking about what fake news, real news, and like how to can't trust Wikipedia. People like Wikipedia. Like, girl, that is unchangeable. Kind of. But yes, do your research, get second opinions on everything outside of
okay.
like the medical industrial complex. Just double check, search around. Um, yeah, I think yeah, just like keep it open mind, keep it open. So
Okay, okay. Listen, one thing you're gonna do, if you want some credible information, Paradise is your girl. She's gonna lead you in the right direction.
I'll
She
do a
can't
little
lead the
research. I'll
horse
do a
to the
little
water.
research.
Okay. Speaking of that, how do you get folks, or how do you yourself stay on top of everything that's going on, whether it, how you mentioned the fires and things of that nature, or whether it be what's going on in your community, like you mentioned, there's food that, how do you stay on top of things? And how do you
Mm,
get people involved and stay informed and things like that?
yes. Well, I will say I am a emo girly. I've been an emo girly since high school, so I have like all the
Okay,
different newsletters. That's my little update. That's my little update.
period.
And then I do have like friends and like family like all across, and so that's like one way of just like checking in with folks. And like kind of like, oh, did you talk to your neighbor? Like, oh, did you know about this? They got a
Mhm.
special election going on. Who you voted for? So sometimes that be like my responsibility. Like, okay, let me read the ballot. Let me, highlight and like tell people what this means and send that to a couple group chats and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's like definitely one way. And then when I'm outside, just like being outside, being open to like having a conversation with people, and like talking to them and like kind of seeing like, oh, like, what's going on? Where you
Mhm.
from? Has like always been like helpful for me to like know like, okay, this is going on in your part. What is it going? Come on down here. Yeah, and then I think yeah, just like kind of, saying into like documentaries, and like the news updates, like making sure it's like unbiased, has been really helpful to me. And yeah, just like talking like from to folks from like different perspectives, different backgrounds to kind of like get a world view of things has been helpful as well.
Mhm. I hear that. Okay, period. Okay, period. Now I understand that you all the different avenues that you use to make sure that you stay activated, that you make sure that you use to translate to other people so that they stay involved. We love it from the newsletter down. Period. As a person
A,
who
B, C.
from the email, listen, as a person who used to think when we were in high school that you were so old and like you're doing so much paradise. Now that I'm following that lead in a sense, okay, I'm right behind you with the
You're taking
email,
my email.
the newsletters, the calendar, the different this grown, it's crazy.
Hmm.
But
Adulting.
okay, but what do you do in order to make sure you have some type of self-care, some type of avenue to make sure that you're okay? What does Paradise do to take care of herself and make sure that she's good? Because I know you mentioned even in your bio that take some rest if you need it. What does that look
Hmm.
like?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I experienced burnout, like extreme burnout. So I had to kind of relook what it could look like for me to show fully in the movement, in the work. And so I started taking my naps more seriously.
Okay. Period.
And y'all can fight me, but a nap should be a minimum of 3 hours for me. I need at least three. And it's been helpful. It's been helpful for me to like fully show up, even though I get my little 8 hours of sleep every night. I'm like, I still need a little nap to like hold me up. I think that also always down for some good vegan food, always down for some family time. Quality time is my love language. And then always just like music and like a good museum. Um, and so there's like so many fun like activations like happening across the city or just like even around the nation. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this exhibit's happening. Do I have time and like space to, like go check it out in person and like really embody the work. And so that's been fun. And then I love a good book. I have a goal to read 105 books this year. I'm at like I think I'm on book like 57.
Hmm.
And so this is my first year of like doing romance and like sci-fi. I'm typically like academia heavy, like Black liberation, but I was like, okay, maybe we should dial it down
It's a little
just a
relief.
little bit,
Just a
a
little
little
relax.
bit, a little bit. The world is already existing. Let me escape a little bit. So that's been helpful. Just that, like good company, just laughing. I love a good joke, love a little good meme.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Mhm.
and I love that. I love that you have different avenues, different ways of making sure that you are taking care of yourself, relaxing, and doing the work, but still making sure that you don't experience the burnout that you mentioned, like so much of us do in this line of work, especially when you've been doing it as long as you have.
So,
Okay, 10, 15 years, Miss Mamas. Lord have mercy. Even longer than that, maybe.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We've been
So,
working. I'm just
uh,
like,
okay, Perry, you better, not you playing. You have been working. You better let them know.
we've been
So,
working.
I
Yes.
do want to also, because the way Zoom is set up is
Hmm.
limited, I do want to highlight any organizations, any work that you have done that you just want to speak into the forefront that you know other people might get joy from and can learn from or be involved in the work and things of that nature. What has helped Paradise get to where she's at in terms of these Blacklit orgs that she's working with?
Yes. I'll definitely I won't share too much of stories with them, but one I can think of like if you're in the LA area for middle school and high schoolers, Lead Scholars, it's a community of Black educators, Black women educators, like the West Adams, Playa Vista area, and they meet monthly for youth, and like really skill building and like preparing folks to go to college. Another one that I love is Black Being in LA in Inglewood, which is like a well-being sanctuary that I love to go to and just like do some movement, some meditation. and some beautiful sound healing be happening there. And then Parenting Celebration, where I work, we do a lot of activations for Black parents, mamas, dads, queer folks,
Okay.
and some retreats in between innovation labs, and things of that nature. Also, want to shout out BizStoop, which is in like the Oakland area, Bay Area, supporting all of California youth. Really trying to tackle like Black life expectancy. And so they do like a lot of work to like empower and like resource Black and other folks. I think up to like 35. Another one that I work really closely with is like the SC Justice Group, supporting women and gender nonconforming folks that have been impacted by mass incarceration or who have experienced it themselves, and like really kind of going through the journey of learning what it means to like be an advocate for yourself or for your community or your loved ones. And then the Radical Hood Library that's in LA, book clubs, healing activations, teach-ins, and like a free book resource to the loved ones inside. Yeah, I think those are like some of the places I can think of. Oh, then also like We Got Us Now nationwide, for children who have incarcerated parents, and they're gearing up for some activations for this year. Would be some places that I would like to shout out. And then yeah, if y'all follow me on Instagram, y'all know I'll do a little Instagram story reel, be like, hey, something happened at Moonwater, something happened here. For like folks to like get outside, and to not just survive in this world, but to thrive and like do some with like your family that's like centering like love and joy and healing. And so yeah, that's a little bit about me. Yes.
No, I just want to say thank you. I'm
No,
just
thank
sad
you.
that we couldn't do this on live, but live, something about the hurdle rule now, child. So next time, if we ever do this again, which I would love, a part two, you know,
Hmm.
if you maybe a year or so from now, do it again a few months from
Yes.
now, figure out what else you've been up to, what else you got going on, you know. I would
What
love
a
that.
cook. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
But
oh yes.
thank you so much. I appreciate you and all your work that you have done, from letting me copy your homework till working in these organizations. Okay, Paradise.
Yeah, we gonna get it done. We gonna get it done. We gonna make sure we cross the finish line. Cross it.
Period.
No,
Period.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be in conversation with you, to be in community with you. So proud, and grateful to always be in knows of you. And yeah, sending you nothing but love and blessings on this journey as you end the rest of your summer. Black August, we gotta
So,
do a little something. No, just
yes.
but no, yeah, like definitely grateful always. But yeah, that's all I got for today.
Well, I will talk to you very soon. Thank you, Paradise.
Yes.